Hello guys, and today I'm going to show you another chess game, and I'm going to ask you a question. Should white have protected their rook? Should white have moved their rook so that it wouldn't get taken? Was it a good idea for white to stop their rook from being taken? Let's look at part of the end of the game. Here, you'll notice that white is in check. They move their pawn to attack the queen. The queen moves up, threatening to take the rook. Now, white had some other potential moves. I'm not saying these are necessarily good, but they could have taken the bishop and sacrificed the rook. They could also have potentially moved other pieces, e.g. a pawn, or other things. The question is, what would have been a good move? On the next move, they moved their rook to safety so that it couldn't be taken. But was that a good move? Before and after the rook was moved, was that a good move? Or should they have just risked losing their rook? On the surface, after that, the rook is protected by the knight. That's how it appears. So if, for example, at some later stage the was taken, the knight could take whatever took the rook. But was that a good idea? I'm now going to show you the game all the way from the beginning, and then you can decide whether or not it was a good idea, and then you will see how the game actually ended. Right, so white started with d4, an opening that is championed by Anna Kramling and others. Knight moves to threaten the pawn, even though there's no point because it could be taken by the queen. They protect their pawn. Move the other knight out. I move a pawn to threaten their pawn. They take the pawn. I take the pawn. I move the knight to safety. Again, moving the knight to safety. They protect their pawn. I move the bishop out. They threaten the bishop. Now, for some reason that I can't even think of why I even did this, I think I saw my strategy here. I did this instead. Now, at the time I may have been thinking that if they took it, I could just move to here and threaten both the bishop and the rook. For some reason that I'll never know why, that bishop was never taken at any time during the game. They move their knight out instead to threaten my knight. Instead, I move my queen, and put them in check. They move their king. I now have a 4-king check. So my original plan I didn't put into action, because rather than taking a rook or a bishop, I can now take the queen, and there's nothing they can do about it, because it is a 4-king check. That means when the king is in check, and afterwards you can take another piece, and the person who has to move their king or is in check can't do anything to stop it. They move their king. I take their queen. And then threaten my queen. I move my queen to safety and also put them in check. They move a pawn to attack my queen. I then move my queen. Check. They then move a pawn. You now see the position that you saw at the beginning of this video. Now I moved up, threatening their rook. They move their rook. Now, this is the question I asked at the beginning. Was it a good idea for them to protect their rook and move it by moving it to safety? Was that a good idea? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to work it out, if it was a good idea or not. Right, I'm now going to tell you, it was a terrible move. They should have just risked losing it. And I'll show you why. The reason why is because now black has mate in 2. Black moved, I moved my black queen, check. There is only one place they can go to. They have to move the king. There is no piece they can move in front of it. That is the only position they can move to. On the next move, checkmate. And as you can see, the queen is protected by both the knight and also the bishop. And as I said, quite surprisingly, the bishop was never taken at any time during the game. So there you go. Because they moved their rook to safety, they lost the game. So what they really needed to do was find a way so that of getting the king out of a problem if it moved to there. Now, No, sorry. Wait a minute. What am I talking about? No, I'm not there. My apologies. Sorry. I made a mistake. They need to stop the Queen moving to there somehow. Now, the only way they could have done it was from that, but then the knight could just be taken. So, if, for example, they had moved the knight there, then the knight could be taken, but it would have prevented me moving the queen to there, because if I had, then the knight would have taken it. But so it's not a good move. But then, perhaps after that, I could maybe then have moved their rook and then done other things. Instead, they needed to find a way of allowing the king to escape in some way. So I think they could have either moved this pawn or this pawn. And then that would have allowed the king to escape in some way. I think this pawn wouldn't have been so good as I thought, because if they had moved that pawn there, that could have gone there. And then the king would still have to move there, so it wouldn't help. So the move I originally thought would help probably wouldn't help as much. Then the king can... Why not? Oh. I didn't see that. So actually it looks like they're in a lost position anyway. Okay, serves me right. I thought originally they could move there. Okay, so I can't move there. Okay, so if the king moved there instead, it then has a way out by going via here and here and, you know, escaping. So if the king moved there, then no, it doesn't help either. Just realised, because if they do that, so it's already lost. Well, the position is worse than I thought. So, having thought about this, then, if they move their rook there, that would mean if they moves there, the king can then move there. And if the queen moves there, now before that would have been checkmate. And now the king can move there, threatening to take the queen. And it's starting to look more difficult for black. Or is it? Checkmate. So it seems even they can't even get out that way. What happens if the king moves there instead? No, we've already... How'd you get out of that? Oh yeah. And now the White King is beginning to get away. So it seems that although it was something I didn't consider at all, the best move would have been for White to move their king. Perhaps. Or would it be? No, if I move it here instead. I'm baffled. How does white get out of that? I'm baffled. It says there's a way out of it, but I can't see it. That can't be right. I'm just seeing if there's a glitch. I am totally baffled. It says it's check, but it doesn't say it's checkmate. I'm baffled. How can white get out of that? Okay, let's just try the silly things. Yep, I'm absolutely baffled. Um... I think I found a real genuine bug. A real fault. Because I genuinely can't see how it's possible to get out of that. Yep, it looks like a real, genuine bug. Oh, there is one. I finally found it. There is a way out. I have found it. God, I'm an idiot. I thought, why? I thought it was a fault with the system, and I was tricked because I was too busy concentrating on the Queen. And I didn't notice I could actually take the knight. So, I was right all along. Sorry for, wasting all your time, guys, but I was genuinely baffled by it. So, if it had gone there, then... Even then, it now makes it hard for white, because black can now do that. Threatening mate here. And if it took it, white would have to move there. Actually, it wouldn't. That would be a stupid move to do. Because if it did that, then obviously you'd have take, so that would not be a good idea. But anyway, that was the best way out of it. So, in summary, I apologise for wasting everybody's time. I'm utterly useless. I must be getting very old. But ideas I had originally of how to get out of it were not what I thought. But nonetheless, you shared my thought process, guys. So, as I said, that was a bad move. They should not have moved the rook and tried to protect it. Then white could have, if they had taken, then white could have tried to protect their bishop, or and it would have been interesting. White could try to attack the knight then, and it would have carried on. Anyway, so basically, a game where they should have allowed their rook to be taken, and they lost the game because they protected their rook as they fought. So they stopped the rook being taken but lost the game as a result. Thanks for watching. Bye.